Hey, before we get into today's episode, I really want to tell you about something that I'm incredibly excited about. I have recently created a brand new group coaching program launching in February of this year. And if you've ever felt stuck between the security of your corporate job and the dream of building something soul aligned, well, this program was made for you. So let me guess where you're at right now. You're successful, you've climbed the ladder, you've got the salary, the benefits, the stability. Everyone tells you should be so grateful, but inside you're burned out, you're exhausted, and there's this quiet little voice getting louder and louder, telling you that you're meant for something more. Maybe you're journaling about business ideas at night. Maybe you've researched how to become a coach 17 times. Maybe you've even whispered to yourself, what if I just left? But then the fear crashes in. Because how do you walk away from steady income? How do you even know what business to build? How do you make the leap without completely losing your mind? That's exactly why I created the quantum shift method. From burned out to blissed out. It's a 5-month transformational program, 20 weeks, that takes you from I'm stuck in corporate to I have a soul aligned business and an exit plan by the end of June. Here's what makes this program different. First, I'm a licensed mental health therapist, so we're going deep. We're doing subconscious rewiring, nervous system regulation, dismantling corporate conditioning at the root level. This isn't surface level, just think positive stuff that we're doing in here, okay? I'm bringing clinical psychology into the coaching space for you. I'm also a mindset and manifestation coach. So you're getting the energetic alignment, the manifestation principles, and the spiritual practices that make this feel aligned for you, not just logical. This program is broken into 5 clear modules. We start with a foundation, connecting with your future self and creating safety in your nervous system. We then do mindset mastery. We focus on rewiring limiting beliefs and abundance blocks with subliminal audios and deep subconscious work. We then do business essentials, which is your 1-page business plan, a pricing strategy, ideal client clarity. We then move into embodiment and visibility. So I help you step into your CEO energy and show up without burning out. And then lastly, what I call the quantum leap, your personalized exit strategy and sustainable systems so that your business doesn't recreate that corporate burnout that you're literally trying to escape. Every week, you get a new lesson delivered to your inbox from me, both in written and video form. And then every 2 weeks, you hop on a live 90-minute coaching call with me. And every single day, you have support in our private WhatsApp community where you can ask questions, celebrate wins, get real-time guidance from myself and your peers. Plus, on top of all of that, I have lined up some incredible bonus expert calls, topics such as human design, emotion code, glamour magic, branding, money mindset, just to name a few of things that you'll get for some bonus coaching calls from outside coaches that I'm bringing in to support you. I'm only taking 15 women. And I'm doing that intentionally. I want this to be an intimate group so everybody gets personalized attention. That way I can actually know your business inside and out. The investment, $6,666, which I know is significant, but I do have payment plans. You can do 3 monthly payments of $2,222, or you can do 6 monthly payments of $1,111. Honestly, by the time you finish this program in June, you will have a business that can generate that and possibly more. So if this is speaking to you, head to my website, stephaniedingbaum.com/quantum shift method for all the details, or just DM me on Instagram and I'll get you there. My Instagram handle is at stephanie.dingbaum. And let's talk about whether this is your next move or not. All right, let's dive into today's episode.
Welcome to Next Level You podcast. I'm Stefanie Dingbaum, your host, your biggest cheerleader, and your go-to girlfriend for real, raw, and uplifting conversations about leveling up in life. As a mental health therapist with over a decade of experience and a business coach helping women elevate their lives and businesses, I'm here to guide you through the mindset shifts, holistic practices, and manifestation tools you need to step into your most authentic, next level self. Whether you're here to ignite your personal growth, elevate your professional game, or simply rediscover you, this podcast is your invitation to dream bigger, go after your goals, and unapologetically claim the life you deserve. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. It's time to uplevel, manifest, and glow.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Next Level You podcast. Stefanie Dingbaum here. Holy shit, we made it to episode 100. You guys, this is such a big deal for me. I remember back in day one when I was listening to Casey Get Married, who was my podcast coach at the time, talk about, I don't remember the statistic, but something along the lines of how so many podcast hosts don't even make it past episode 10. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? 10? You throw in the towel at 10? And I just couldn't believe that. Well, we're here at 100 and I haven't thrown in the towel yet. In fact, I have no intentions of throwing in the towel. So here we are. Thank you for being here today. If you have been a loyal listener through the past 2 years, I want to just give my most sincere thank you to you. It is listeners like you that keep me inspired to keep showing up. If you continue to promote my podcast, whether it be on Instagram or Facebook or with friends, thank you. It means the world to me. I cannot tell you enough how much that means to me, you guys, because it literally helps get me out there to more listeners. And I can tell you from looking at the stats that it works because Next Level You podcast is officially listened to worldwide, which is such an amazing accomplishment. So thank you for all the shares. Thank you for promoting this. Thank you for being loyal. And if you are a new listener, welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope you get value out of these episodes because they truly do come from the heart. Okay. Every solo episode that I record is a download that is intuitively given to me that I feel very strongly needs to be talked about. Every collab that I bring on here is completely soul aligned. I don't agree to every guest that is recommended to me, to every guest that pitches to me. It has to feel soul aligned for me. And I really have to go within and listen to my intuition on that. Okay. So let's celebrate. I really want this to be a celebratory episode. There's so much I want to share with you guys. Let's get into it. So, what I want to talk to you guys all about today is the highs, the lows, and just the soul level transformation that has been the journey of podcasting over the last 2 years and how I found my voice. I really want to share that with you guys. Yeah, let's just dive right in. I really want to take this time first and foremost to just reflect on this journey. And I want to share with you guys, I want to do some self disclosure. I really want to share with you guys the healing that came from me learning to speak my truth on here. And besides that, I also want to spend some time today honoring some of my favorite episodes, some of my favorite guests, some of my favorite solo episodes. And I hope that through listening today, you feel like you connected more deeply with me. And then if you stay on through the end, I have a fun little giveaway that I'll be doing at the end of the episode. So I hope that intrigues you and makes you want to listen all the way through. Okay. So, like I said before, when I first started this podcast, I was working with a coach, Casey Get Married, who is also a podcast host. If you guys have not listened to her podcast, highly recommend it. She actually just recently pivoted it to kind of rebranded it into this new season of life that she's in, which is motherhood. So I highly recommend giving her a listen. But I remember in one of our coaching calls, she was talking about, like I mentioned before, the statistic of how many podcast hosts actually make it past 10 episodes. And it was really low. Not a lot of people make it beyond 10. And I just remember sitting there on that video call thinking, holy shit. So, you invest in all the equipment that you need, and you invest in subscribing to a recording studio, subscribing to an editing service, potentially paying somebody to manage your podcast. You invest in all of that And then you throw in the towel after 10 episodes. Like my mind was just baffled. Like I couldn't believe that people would put the effort in to start something like this only to throw in the towel 10 episodes later. Like it just blew my mind. And I remember also in that same session with Kesia that we came up with a bulletproof plan for how to avoid that. No shit. I have been following that plan for all 100 episodes. The only time I fell off the bandwagon with it was when we had Augie. I went a month without recording, a month without publishing any episodes. It took that month to be a fully present mom. And I'm glad I did. No regrets. But here we are, episode 100. And you guys, this journey of embracing being a podcast host has truly transformed me in ways that I didn't expect. I mean, I'll be honest, I definitely was hoping that this would lead to bigger and better things, and it has, but I wasn't anticipating this big of a transformation that came from this. It literally feels like, in some ways, I just started yesterday. And in some ways, it feels like I've been at this for years, which I love that. But if we're being completely honest, and that's what the podcast is all about, I'm not here to sugarcoat for you guys. I'm not here to give it to you in a pretty format. I'm here to speak the truth. And that doesn't always, people don't always like that. And that's okay. You don't have to listen. But truth be told, I'm really just getting started. I know plenty of podcast hosts that have been going at it for over 5 years, and I'm just hitting year two. I'm just going into year three in March. So we're just getting started. There is so much more to talk about. So buckle up because I'm not going anywhere. This is way too much fun. I have no desire to leave it. So I want this episode to be just a little different from other solo episodes. Okay. I'm not here to teach you a lesson. I'm not here to coach you on anything. We're here to reflect today. Okay. It's just going to be about reflecting and celebrating, like I mentioned before. I want to be real with you, though, about what this journey has been like for me, both behind the scenes and what you see me post on Instagram. I want to talk to you about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Okay. What I really am hoping with this episode, I want it to come across like a little love letter to my podcast, a little love letter to you listeners, and to the version of myself that I've become just simply by showing up every single week and speaking my truth. So that's kind of the vibes that I'm hoping I give off today. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the highs of podcasting. That'll be the fun part. Okay. There's so many I wanted to share with you guys. So I really just made a bulleted list, and I'm just going to go one by one to that list with you. Okay. So I truly get so much joy from podcasting. Truth be told, there's more highs than lows. Okay. For me, anyways, that's been my lived experience. I'm not saying that's how it is for every podcast host, but for me personally, this is completely soul aligned. I get way more joy out of it than not. There's definitely, though, that joy of just creative freedom. I love when I come down into my office is in my basement. I love when I come down into my office and I plug in my mic and I get into my recording studio and I hit record, and it's like, all right, let's freaking go. It feels so good. I love the energy that I bring to the room from that moment I hit record. Probably actually the moment I turn the mic on, truth be told. And I just love the freedom that I can come on here and I can truly talk to you guys about anything that I want. It could be spirituality based, business based, mindset based. I might share a personal story or two. And I don't need any permission from anybody. I don't need approval from anybody. There have been multiple times throughout the year, this past year, where I have had to explain to a few people and remind a few people that, hey, I just want to remind you, I didn't make this podcast to make you happy or to people please. Okay. That's not the reason behind it. I specifically in the beginning said that I have opinions, I have stories, I have shit I want to share, and you're going to hear it. There's bullshit I want to call out in our society that I want to talk about that resonates with me. Doesn't mean it's going to resonate with everyone, but it resonates with me. I feel strongly about it. So I'm going to talk about it. I'm not here to get approval. I'm not here to be liked or to get permission. Nobody's forcing you to listen, right? So I secretly love that. I secretly love that I've given myself permission to talk about what I want to talk about, what I feel called to talk about. And it doesn't matter if anyone agrees or not, because it's my truth that I'm speaking and it will resonate with the right people. And it has. Let me tell you, it has. Truth be told, I don't mind being open with you guys. I think I've been yearning for this deep down in my soul. I love that I can come on here and be honest and vulnerable because I think that's what helps us all connect more deeply. I think listeners feel more seen, more heard, more validated because I show up vulnerably and honestly with you guys. And in the beginning, I honestly didn't know if anybody would listen. I mean, I thought there was a few people close to home that probably would, but I didn't make this podcast for my girlfriends. I didn't make this podcast for my family. I didn't make it for anybody locally. But I've had a lot of people, both locally and beyond, who have been loyal listeners. And I'm just so grateful for that because I had doubts in the beginning as to whether people would listen or not. I also didn't really know how I would promote this. I didn't know if Instagram would be the best place for promoting it. I didn't know if it was going to be well received or not. And I definitely didn't have a huge social media following in the beginning, and that's really grown too. I don't know if it's because of the podcast necessarily, but it has significantly grown, and I'm grateful for that as well. I mean, that's not really my goal in starting a business is to have large followers, but it's been kind of fun to see it grow. I'm not going to lie. So having an audience both with the podcast and social media, definitely a plus. Another high is the incredible guests that I've had the honor to bring on the podcast. I absolutely have loved connecting with people who truly inspire me. I have brought a variety of people on, both like local entrepreneurs, local people in my life that I know, mentors, expanders, as well as people from like literally all over the world. I brought on an author from England. I have brought on, oh gosh, just so many expanders. I like the list is huge. Okay. And there's more to come. Stay tuned because I have some really big ones coming in 2026 that I'm just super stoked about. But that's been honestly like my favorite part is I love that the podcast gives me the opportunity to connect with people that I wouldn't connect with otherwise possibly. And I love that we intentionally get to sit down for an hour, almost like a coffee chat. And we get to learn from each other. We get to swap stories and have these deep conversations and just really connect at what I think is like the soul level. And truth be told, these collabs, they're not just interviews. I like to think of them more as like soul sessions. Like our souls are collabing and connecting. And it's a beautiful thing. And I just love that I've been able to be a part of that. Another high is the listener messages. I love, love, love hearing from listeners. I love the DMs I get. I love the reviews, the ratings. I love the text messages that I get when somebody shares my podcast in their story and tags me. I love that. Those are those little wins. It's not even little, those are wins for me. And they literally change my life. Like I literally do a happy dance every time one shows up in my DMs. I love it. It's almost like every time I read one, it's exactly what I needed to hear in that moment. Those are the moments that remind me why I'm doing this. And I can't get enough of them. I love them. They give me a dopamine hit every time I see it. So I'm definitely here for that. So keep them coming. Thank you to those of you who have like literally shown up in my DMs, texted me, and just like let me know how the podcast resonates with you. I can't thank you enough for that. Another high, I want to do some shout outs to some specific episodes for you guys because these are definitely some highs for me. So let's start with some collabs. So there's, you guys, I don't even know the exact number. So many collabs. I have been doing bi-weekly collabs since month number 3 of the podcast. So every other week is a solo episode. Every other week is a collab. So that is a lot, right? But there's some specifically that just really blew my mind that I want to share with you guys in case you haven't listened to them. Highly recommend going back, giving them a listen. First one is episode 33 is when I brought Carrie Hayes onto the podcast. Carrie went to the same high school as me. And I had brought her onto the podcast to share her mental health story. Mind you, before having her come on, I didn't know the ins and the outs of this story. I knew bits and pieces of it, but I didn't know any in depth information about it. To date, so 33, so Carrie's story, has been the most listened to episode with over 200 downloads. Holy shit. That's amazing. So thank you, Carrie, if you're listening. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for your deeply and vulnerable collab because clearly people needed to hear that story. And I know for a fact that it resonated with a ton of people. I mean, my DMs blew up after bringing her on, and her story was just very compelling. So a really good listen. Another one was episode 56. So 56, I brought on Megan Lamford, who on Instagram she owns Points to Paradise. So she is a coach for credit card points and how to effectively use them to travel more often. So I loved this episode because this is a topic I don't know a lot about. It's brand new to me. However, it's a topic that I have gotten more interested in and I have dove more into because I have multiple credit cards, like personal, business, and therefore I have a lot of points. And I'm like, okay, it's time to use these and I want to travel more. So it just made more sense to bring her on the podcast because I had goals that very much aligned with her coaching and her business. And truth be told, I'm setting up a coaching call with her this year to utilize my points and hopefully do a free trip because I know I have a boatload of points that need to be used. So that was a really informative episode. If you haven't listened to it, highly recommend. So informative. She truly knows her shit. Another collab, this one's a series that I want to talk about. So I did a series this October. So October of 2025, I did a mini series with actually my VA, Christy Norman. And the mini series was all on cycle syncing. So it's episodes 80 through 83. I was so intrigued by this because as my VA, I was learning about it through our monthly check ins, but not anything super in depth. And I got a few books on the topic and just decided, you know what? I want to incorporate this into my business more. And so we did a mini series. And each week of the mini series, we dove into whatever week of the female cycle we were talking about. And it was so informative. I learned things that I have not learned from anyone else before. And going into 2026, I actually decided I'm going to start being more intentional about cycle syncing. So everything I'm implementing, I've learned from Christy. And you guys, she is a wealth of knowledge. You can actually do one-off coaching calls with her if you want to learn more about cycle syncing, which I highly, highly recommend. She's also deeply spiritual and intuitive, and she's just a good vibe. I can honestly, she was the first hire for my business. And I can honestly say she's been the best hire. I lean on her so much. I am so grateful for her. She's truly just a soul aligned VA. And now she's also a part-time social media manager for me as well, which has also been such a good hire as well. Another collab that just really stands out in my mind is episode 85, which is when I brought Brenda Noon Schmidt onto the podcast. Brenda is the owner of Hero House Manager, and she came onto the podcast to talk all about house managers and how to incorporate one into how to delegate and incorporate one into your life, the importance of delegating, the importance of hiring this role. Her and her husband actually help people. They are both entrepreneurs and they help people incorporate house managers into their life so that you can ultimately get more time back for your business, which means you're making more money in the long run. This episode really resonates with me because I'm really trying to manifest a house manager for my home. It will help me to be able to get more time back into business, and it will help me and my husband out so freaking much, especially now that we're parents. So highly recommend episode 85. And then lastly, I want to give a shout out to episodes 89 and 90. I brought Linda Schott onto the podcast, who owns the Alchemy House. We talked all about intuitive design, intuitive interior design. And oh my gosh, she is a vibe. It is partly because of her business that my word of the year is alchemy. I didn't even know what that word meant prior to interviewing her. I had to look it up. Truth be told, it's just not a common word that I use. My friend Ashley says it's a witchy word. But I learned so much from her in those 2 episodes, and we recorded them in person. So highly recommend listening to it on YouTube. She's just such a vibe, you guys. Again, I'm going to manifest working with her, hopefully in the near future, because I really dig her energy. And she's a wealth of knowledge. She is intuitive, and she really combines like holistic design with energy work. And it is so freaking powerful. So powerful. I could pick her brain all day and not be bored. So give those episodes a listen if you haven't already. They are probably my top favorites. Not probably, they are. But I also want to give a shout out to a few solo episodes that maybe felt scary to record, but they actually landed exactly how they needed to with my audience. So, first one being our adoption story. That was a very personal episode to record, a very emotional story to record. I don't even think I cried through it though. Honestly, I don't think I did. I can't remember though. But that's a really powerful story. It's one of my favorite stories to tell. And it's just changed my life. So if you haven't listened to that, I don't even know what number it is. I should have looked that up, but scroll back through. It's labeled Our Adoption Story. It's a part 1 and a part 2. You can't miss it. Highly recommend you give that a listen. And then I also want to give a shout out to episode 79, where I talked all about assumptive bias, which is not a super common term that people know, but assumptive bias is, in a nutshell, when our brains make assumptions without having all the facts, because our brains like completeness. And I felt very called to talk about this because I was having so many people in my life that were being impacted by this phenomenon. It's a psychological phenomenon. I was having so many people, from like coaching clients to especially therapy clients, though, especially them. Even a few people like in my circle were being impacted by this. Like relationships were being ruined because of this phenomenon. And I've actually been impacted by it as well. And so I felt really called to talk about this because of how common it is, but it's like, you don't always know what you don't know. And I think it was very eye-opening for a lot of people. I had a lot of DMs from it saying like, this is so common. It literally happens every day to me, but I didn't even know there was a word for it. So it definitely landed how it needed to. But it was a little scary to talk about because like people can easily, and it's so funny that I'm saying it like this, but people can easily make assumptions that when they listen to a podcast episode and they know me, that it's about them. And it's not, because I'm not going to record an episode talking about somebody who I know listens to my podcast. Like, that seems really rude and inappropriate to do that. But I do talk about things that resonate with clients that I work with, or even people in my circle who are struggling with things. And so, yeah, I just felt really called to talk about that, but it was also kind of scary because you just really want it to land with people the right way, and you don't always have control over that. So it can sometimes feel scary.
Can we talk about something real for a second? How many of you are doing everything right? Eating clean, working out, drinking your water, taking your supplements, and yet you still feel off. Like, you look in the mirror and your skin looks dull, you feel bloated for no reason, your energy doesn't match the effort you're putting in, and you're standing in front of a bathroom counter covered in serums and supplements thinking, why is this so complicated and why isn't any of this actually working? Yeah, I've been there too. And that's exactly why I'm so excited to tell you all about Glossy. Glossy was created by my business coach, Lori Harder, who is an absolute powerhouse and one of my biggest expanders. And here's what I love about her story. Lori and her team were living the healthy lifestyle. They were doing all the things, but they still felt bloated, drained, and frustrated that their skin and energy didn't reflect the work that they were putting in. So they asked themselves, why are we overcomplicating this? And from that question, Glossy was born. A beauty meets wellness formula that supports your skin, gut, and hydration from the inside out. It's not another serum. It's not another drawer full of pills. It's one simple ritual that actually makes a difference. Here's what sets Glossy apart. It's science-backed, it's clean, and it works on multiple levels. You're not just addressing surface level stuff. You're supporting your gut health, your skin's glow, your body's hydration. It's holistic wellness in the truest sense. And honestly, I can feel the difference. My skin looks clearer, my energy feels lighter, and I'm not dealing with that annoying bloat that used to follow me around no matter what I ate. It's one of those things where you didn't realize how off you were feeling until you start feeling right. Because here's the truth, great skin and a lighter, more energized body shouldn't be complicated. It should make your life better, not add to your overwhelm. If you are someone who's been doing all the right things, but still not seeing or feeling the results you want, if you're tired of the endless routines and the products that overpromise and underdeliver, Glossy is what you've been looking for. It's simple, it's effective, and it actually works. Head to getglossy.com, that's getglossy.com, and use code NEXTLEVEL for 10% off your first order. Again, getglossy.com and use code NEXTLEVELU for 10% off your first order. Trust me, this is the one thing you're going to want to add to your routine. And honestly, it might be the only thing you need.
Another episode that really, really resonated with a lot of people was episode 68, all about evolving friendships. So I got a lot of really powerful DMs from people about this because it's such a common issue, but it's almost like we don't talk about it enough. And while it's normal and it happens to all of us, like friendships evolve, that's a normal part of life, right? It's almost like we stay hush hush about it. We don't talk about it. So I felt called to talk about it because I would say over the past like 9 years, it was something I was even noticing in my own life. And so I'm comfortable talking about something from my own life as long as it's like so far removed. And that one was. And so I felt really called to talk about that because, again, it's happening to everybody. Everybody is impacted by it. And clearly it resonated with listeners because I got a lot of really positive feedback on that episode. So if you haven't given either of those a listen, go back and listen to them. Okay, two other highs from podcasting that I want to share with you guys. One is the personal growth that I gained from this journey. It has been so fun watching myself over the past 2 years get more and more confident. And I really do attribute that to podcasting because the more I've shown up behind the mic, the more consistent I am being, the more that confidence muscle grows. And I can just tell that when I walk in a room, I show up more confidently than I ever have before. And I just love that. I love that growth that I've experienced. I also feel I am more articulate than I've ever been before. Like I feel like I can more eloquently speak my truth without a script in front of me. And I also just love that. That's huge growth for me. And I also just feel like I am more my authentic self than I've ever been. As every episode passes, I feel more and more comfortable just showing up as my authentic self. That's hard for a lot of people. So I'm going to toot my own horn. I feel good that I can admit that. That feels really freaking good. But again, my entire life has changed from finding my voice on here. It's been year one was deeply healing for me, learning to show up confidently, learning to speak my truth without worrying about what other people think of me. And going into year two, it's like I truly found my voice. And we're really just skimming the surface, though. We're really just getting started. But finding your voice can be one of the most healing experiences of your life. And I don't just mean speaking your truth, but like doing it authentically, no matter who you're around. I used to be a really shy person. I used to be way more introverted, but I feel like now this is who I am. I'm a good mixture of both introvert and extrovert. I love being around people. I love socializing with the right crowd, but I also really, really crave my alone time, probably more than I crave socializing, if I'm being honest with you guys. Because I'll make plans with friends all the time. And then when it comes time to actually like act on those plans, 99% of the time, I try talking myself out of it and telling myself, like, wouldn't you just rather stay home and journal and meditate and read, spend time with your son? Yeah, all of the above, all the freaking time. But now, I don't know. I feel more alive than ever before. I feel more excited about what I do. I feel more passionate about what I do. It's just such a beautiful thing. It's been such a beautiful growth journey for me. And like I said before, I've learned to own my confidence. That's hard for a lot of people. I've learned to trust my voice. I've learned to trust my intuition. I've learned that it's okay to let myself be seen. That's hard for a lot of people, but it's okay. I've given myself permission to be seen and be comfortable with it and own it. And it's given me a lot. It's given me such a deeper relationship with my spiritual side. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things as well. The final high or joy that I want to share with you guys is the community that I've gained from becoming a podcaster. I know so many more podcasters now. It's like you form your own little private community and it's awesome and it's amazing and I love it. I'm totally here for it. And I really found a tribe of like minded, growth oriented, soul led listeners and leaders who they get it and they get me. And I'm freaking here for that. I'm totally here for that energy. So I love that. I love that about what I do. Okay. While there's a lot of great things about podcasting, I also felt really called to share the lows of it because nothing is always sunshine and rainbows, right? Let's be real. Let's be honest. So I have a few lows I want to share with you guys too, because I'm all about honesty on the podcast. There are definitely hard parts in this journey. Okay. So I want you to hear the truth from me. Let's talk about the self doubt. So back in year one, holy shit, self doubt showed up damn near every time I showed up behind the mic. Though that inner critic would get in my head and it wasn't a whisper, it was like a loud shout. Is anyone even listening? Does this even matter? Does anybody even care about this? Am I saying the right thing? Is this landing with people the way I want it to? So much self doubt in the beginning that I had to really work through. But like I said before, the more I showed up, the more that confidence muscle was built and that self doubt became a whisper. And now she's not even audible, you guys. I have shut her down so many times. Just like, Karen, shut it. I'm not here for that shit. She is barely audible. Another low is just the pressure to show up. I I've set a schedule for myself as to like when I record. And you guys, the hard part of podcasting that nobody wants to talk about is you have to show up even when you're tired, even when you're uninspired, even when you're dealing with the heaviness of life. You still have to record because I promised you guys I'm going to. And if you don't know me very well, here's a little fun little tidbit about me. I follow through on what I say I'm going to do for the most part. I am a fighter, so I am not going to throw the towel in. I want to be consistent. Consistency is big to me. It killed me the week or the month that I took off after having Augie. It literally got to me that I wasn't showing up for that full month. Nobody else cared, but I did because I told myself I was going to do it. And not following through for that month, even though I had a legit reason, it really got to me. It really got under my skin. So the pressure to show up, that can be hard from time to time. There's days where I'm planning on recording and I just feel really freaking tired. I'm just not feeling inspired. And I don't want to record from that energy, but sometimes it's like looking at my schedule, like, well, when else am I going to do it? I have a really tight schedule, really tight. And sometimes you have to record even when you're not feeling it. Same with promoting it. Sometimes it can be really hard to promote it when you worry about how it's going to land with people. Okay. Another low is the technical struggles. This is just real life, right? Like when you have equipment failures, editing mishaps, sound issues, the internet's not working, it's -20 outside and the internet's being spotty, or it's the start of a retrograde and that bitch of a retrograde is showing up hot and messing with your internet, messing with your recording studio. Like issues arise, right? And it's not usually it's out of my control. Yeah. That makes me want to throw the towel in. Also makes me want to throw my laptop out the window. So that's definitely one of the lows. Another one is just the fear of being seen, especially early on, but still sometimes even in year two. It can be really hard putting myself out there, speaking my truth, sharing my voice, sharing my stories, my beliefs. That can be really freaking hard, especially when I know I don't really worry about the strangers that listen. I don't really worry about that. I really get in my head about people that I know that are listening. I think that's the hardest part. I don't record these for them, but I know there's some that listen, and I love that. I appreciate that. I always appreciate the support, whether you know me or not. I appreciate the support. But because they know me, it can be really scary sometimes speaking my truth, sharing my stories and my beliefs. Because I know sometimes those things, they don't resonate with them or they don't agree with it. And that's fine. You don't have to. Gosh, if you don't agree with something, just don't listen. Stop listening. Move on to a different podcast, you know? Like, I'm not forcing you to listen. I don't care if you do or you don't. So that's hard for sure. And another piece of that is just like being vulnerable when I might not be that vulnerable with certain people face to face. I'm definitely getting more comfortable with vulnerability, but it's still hard. It can still be terrifying. And some weeks, if I'm being completely honest, some weeks I almost didn't hit publish. There are some weeks where I'm like, nah, I'm not going to send this to my podcast manager because I'm a little scared, you know, but you do it. You show up and you do it. Another low is the comparison trap. It can be so easy watching other podcasters with probably bigger audiences, probably a better production team, definitely more sponsorships. I don't even have one yet. It can be really hard watching them and not comparing myself to them. But I love the quote that you can't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 10. And I constantly am reminding myself of that, but it's still hard, right? Like I'm only human. And what goes with that is just the constant wonder of like, am I doing this right? That's hard. That definitely gets to me from time to time. And then a final low of podcasting that I want to share is just the lows are part of the process, right? But it doesn't mean that I'm failing. It's the opposite of that. It means that the fact that I'm still putting myself out there, it means that I'm sticking with it. I'm still trying. It means that I'm human. The fact that I show up anyways, scared or not, feeling it or not, that's what makes me a podcaster. That's what makes me a quality podcaster, I think. Okay, those are all the lows that I wanted to share with you guys, the real life lows. Well, we're getting into the heart of this episode, okay? The deep, the personal reflection. This is the soul level transformation that I want to share with you guys. Like I mentioned before, there is definitely that fear in the beginning in year one when I first started. I was scared to death for probably the first 6 months. It probably took me at least 6 months to get over that deep fear, that fear of judgment. And it wasn't like I was worried about strangers judging me. That fear of judgment was more what people I know would think of me. And isn't that how it always seems to go? You put yourself out there and you don't care what strangers think, or I would hope you wouldn't. I don't. I care what that chick from high school thinks of me, which I know that's silly, but I'm being honest with you guys. I care what maybe a college professor who listens might think of me. I care what certain friends in my life think of me and whether this is going to resonate with them or not, because I know they're listening because they're being supportive. And thank you. I appreciate that support. And also, I'm scared to death that something might rub you wrong and you might hold it against me. Like, Again, I didn't start this podcast for friends. I didn't start this podcast for local people, but I know they're listening for a number of reasons. And so that fear was definitely always there. And of course, what goes along with that is that fear of saying the wrong thing. But again, I didn't make this podcast to appease people. I literally, when I did a medium session, I was told that you're doing a podcast to call out the bullshit in our society that you don't agree with. And she was exactly right. That's literally verbatim what I said when I was creating my first episode. I got shit to say, and you're going to hear it. And I don't care if you agree or not. Something along those lines, anyways. And then, yeah, releasing the more that I showed up, the more that I spoke my truth, even when it felt uncomfortable, the more free I became, the more free I felt. Even when I was scared of being too much, even if I was scared about speaking about my spiritual beliefs, even when I was scared that I was being too bold on here or too me, whatever that means, I still showed up. I still spoke my truth, even when uncomfortable. And that's very freeing. That's so healing. It has been for me. And what I've learned from speaking my truth on here is that when you consistently show up and speak your truth, you are healing a wound at the soul level, likely a wound that's been carried in from previous generations and probably even previous lifetimes. Every time I showed up and shared a story or a struggle or a lesson that I've learned in my life, I'm releasing it, which means I'm not carrying it alone anymore. Every listener is carrying it alongside me. And that is deep level healing, you guys. So it's like every solo episode that I've recorded, I'm healing myself more and more. And I'm here for that. What I've learned from speaking my truth is I've learned to reclaim my voice. There were definitely times in my current lifetime where I was taught to dim my light, where I was taught to stay quiet, to not take up space, specifically growing up prior to my parents' divorce. Unfortunately, when my parents were still married, it was not always safe to speak our truths. It was like walking on eggshells when my dad lived with us. He wasn't around a ton, but when home, we very much were told to like be quiet, do our own thing, stay in our room, entertain ourselves, things like that. And that version of me has been healed now. I have taught myself now that it's okay to shine my light. It's okay to speak up, to share my truth, to share what matters to me. Podcasting has taught me that my voice does matter and that my truth is just as powerful as anybody else's truth. And that I don't need permission from anybody to be fully and unapologetically myself because it lands with the people that it needs to land with is what I've learned. I have learned through this journey to own my authenticity. And I needed that, you guys. I needed that so badly. I have stopped trying to sound like other podcasters. I am not trying to fit a mold here. I am trying to be authentic to me. And that's different than any other podcast host out there. I am showing up as me, messy, real, evolving Stefanie. And that authenticity, that's what people connect with. My authenticity is what has people showing up in my DMs. And again, not to sound like a broken record, but every episode that I've recorded has been another vote of confidence for myself. It's like I have something worth saying and I trust myself to say it. And that's such a beautiful thing. And I've also learned through this whole podcasting journey, I've deepened my purpose on this earth in this lifetime. The podcast really clarified for me that I have a mission that I'm here to serve in this lifetime and that I can show up and I can do it and it can help people grow. It can heal people just like it heals me. And it can give people permission to step into their power, kind of like how it's given me permission to step into my power. And literally every episode is an extension of that purpose to own your voice, own your power, step into it. Who cares what people think? That's been just such a beautiful growth journey for me. It's also given me the gift to be comfortable being seen. I've literally written myself a permission slip back in the beginning, a permission slip to be seen, permission slip to be honest, to be heard, permission slip to take up space. I've given myself permission to matter, that my views matter just as much as the next person's. So all of those things have really been a gift to myself, a gift that she deeply needed. There's a inner child in me who is in such a healed place because I've given myself this gift of showing up on here every week. And that purpose has really mattered to me. Learning to speak my truth through this podcast has literally been the best gift I could have ever given myself. And it's healed parts of me that I didn't even know were broken. It's shown me that my voice and my story and my perspective and my truth, it all matters and it's all enough. And it always has been. And that is sometimes a really hard lesson for us to learn. So as I move forward with the podcast, here's my vision for it moving forward that I want to share with you guys. Here's what I'm committed to. Okay. I am committed to continuing to show up authentically, even when I'm scared shitless. I am going to continue to bring on soul aligned guests who challenge you, who inspire you, and expand your mind in ways that maybe you didn't even know you needed. That's my mission moving forward. That's what I'm committed to doing moving forward. I want to go deeper on topics that matter to me, but I want to go deeper than I've gone before. I don't want these to just be surface level interview like episodes. I want to really dig into this, dig under the surface. I want to go deeper on topics like spirituality. I want to go deeper on mindset topics, on business, on healing, transformation. Really, what I really envision for the podcast is I really want to build a community of people who are ready to do the work and step into their next level selves. I mean, after all, it is Next Level You podcast. Would you expect anything different? Here's what I'm also calling in. I want more sponsorships, but like they need to feel aligned. I don't want to put an ad into the podcast that doesn't feel aligned with myself or my listeners. I want more sponsorships and I want more partnerships than I've had before, but they need to feel aligned with my values for the podcast. I'm also calling in more listener engagement. What that means is more reviews, because that's how the podcast gets pushed out more on things like Spotify and YouTube. More reviews, more DMs about it, more shares in your story, more conversations between you and your friends and you and your community. I would love to see more listener engagement. I feel I have a pretty engaged audience, but I'm hoping going into year 3, that gets ramped up even more. I'm also calling in opportunities to take the podcast to that next level. I'll be speaking on stages more because of the podcast. I'll be doing more collaborations because of the podcast. The podcast will be monetized. Whatever feels aligned is what I'm going to call into existence. Opportunities that feel aligned, but that will help me get to that next level. What I'm not doing moving forward, this is important for you to know as well. Moving forward, I am not playing small. Okay, no more of that. I don't feel I have, but in case you feel like I have, not anymore. Moving forward, I am not second guessing myself. If it's been intuitively put on my heart, I am speaking to it. I'm not second guessing it. And I'm not here to give you watered down versions of my message. I'm not here to please everyone. Okay. You just have to be okay with that. If you're not okay with that, then don't listen. You don't have to listen. I didn't make this to appease everyone. Most podcast hosts don't. I made it to speak my truth. I made it to call out the BS that I don't agree with in our society. So no more watered down versions. I'm not here to please everyone, and I'm perfectly okay with that. You just have to be okay with that. Here's what I'm committed to doing. I'm here for the long haul. I have no desire to end this anytime soon. This podcast is not a hobby. It's a calling. It is a soul calling, you guys. And like I said before, I'm just getting started. So buckle up. It's just going to get better and better and better. But if you're here for the ride, let's freaking go. Okay, here's the fun part. It's episode 100. So of course I'm going to do a giveaway. This is huge, you guys. This is a rather large giveaway. Okay, so if you've been listening, you know that I am launching a group coaching program in March of 2026. And I have reserved 15 spots for paid participants who want to benefit from my coaching in a group setting. I am opening one additional spot. So now there will be 16 participants joining my group coaching program. This additional spot I am offering to one listener. If you want to be in this group coaching program, if you want to be considered for that, what I want you to do is leave a review for the podcast on Apple Podcasts. And when you do, I need you to take a screenshot of that review. And then I need you to DM me that screenshot so I have proof that you did it. Once I get your screenshot, I will put your name into the basket. And the week before I launch the group coaching program, I will draw your name. Whoever's name I draw will get 75% off the group coaching program. Let me tell you exactly what that makes it. So the full cost of my group coaching program is $6,666. So if your name is drawn, you will get the 16th spot in this group coaching program at an extremely discounted rate of $1,666. That is extremely discounted, you guys. It's a 5-month group coaching program. You get access to me and a community of 15 peers, and I'm bringing in 5 additional coaches for bonus coaching episode or bonus coaching calls. And you get one-on-one coaching session with me as well. And so many other freebies. A journal that's included in the price, so many other things. Go onto the website if you want to learn more. I'll drop it in the show notes. But I am giving one lucky listener 75% off for a spot in my group coaching program. And if you want that spot, if that sounds like something you want, if you want to enter into it, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, take a screenshot of your review, DM it to me, and I'll put your name in the drawing. Okay. You guys, thank you again for being so loyal, for continuing to support me in the podcast. Every support means so much to me. I cannot thank you enough. Stay tuned. I have some amazing episodes coming down the pipe for 2026. Some really amazing guests coming on in the year. Continue to let me know what resonates with you. I always appreciate hearing from you. Until next time, have a great rest of your week, you guys.
Real quick before you go, I just want to thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And congratulations on showing up for you. Every step you take to invest in yourself brings you that much closer to your next level self, and I'm so proud of you. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration, or take a screenshot and tag me on socials so we can keep spreading the next level you energy. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Let's freaking go!